6 million ways to die. Choose one.
So now, Isaac, give us a hot take.
My hot take: La Liga is La Liga because of Barcelona and Roma. The other clubs are not.
Facts.
I will not. s- I
No
mean,
be
I
hot
will not
take.
say they are
That
not
is fact.
relevant per se. I will say they are not. It's not that they are not relevant. Just that Real Madrid and Barcelona have a better brand, and because they've had the better players for a long time, so basically that's how come it's like the other teams don't have. And the other team in the way the Premier League has been commercialized, that is not the same way La Liga has been commercialized. And I think this thing is usually understated. I think because the Premier League is an English product, so it's able to reach a greater number of people than the La Liga. That because La Liga is a Spanish product.
Yeah, but
The
I
Premier
also
League,
think that La Liga, their financial laws hinder the teams they have. They don't allow the teams in La Liga to spend like reasonably. That if you see teams in Premier League buying players, Bournemouth and like those mid-table teams, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, Brighton, are the players they buy for their first team. That's also the level of players like Atletico Madrid, which is literally one of their biggest. See, that's the same. They buy the same level of players. So I think financially, so that's like a significant reason why the Premier League has more notoriety than like La Liga.
and also another thing is when you look at it, what's the name? The Premier League gives more opportunity for like outside investment. Owners seem to be more interested in investing more in the Premier League than in buying La Liga clubs. And I feel like they believe that when they buy La Liga clubs, they will not be able to break the duopoly of Barcelona and Real Madrid. So basically, it ends up becoming like that, and other teams end up struggling. I feel like La Liga needs to promote get the league better in a way that will make it more attractive. What's your opinion? I don't even think it's hard. I just think it's a fact that the Premier League is a better product than La Liga. I just think it's a fact. In the Premier League, that's one. If making the small teams seem more relevant than La Liga.
So
Yeah.
do you agree with my take, or you don't agree?
Yeah, I agree with it. I'm not saying they are useless, but I just say that the Premier League just has better. The Premier League just has better advertising power and better branding than La Liga. Karen, do you have something to add to it, or we should move on to the next take?
I mean, is the way you said it is that is actually what you've said. You've said everything that we need to know because they back then La Liga only marketed Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bilbao, and then I think at that time Valencia. But now those teams haven't really been on the same level as the Premier League. The Premier League have marketed bigger teams now. You've seen Nottingham Forest get new owners. You've seen um, the likes of the other teams like Everton and Co. They've all gotten new managers. They've invested. They're bringing in new players. So yeah, La Liga. It all comes down to the structure of their board and then their federation. They need to work on that. But everything you said is on point. So I agree with his take.
Yeah, I don't think I just think it's a fact that La Liga the La Liga as a product compared to the Premier League is light years apart. Let's move on to my take. And my second take is that if Victor Gyökeres played for Barcelona, he would be considered one of the best strikers in the world if he played for Barcelona. And the reason I say it is because if you compare Barcelona and Arsenal, the number of chances Barcelona create for a forward, he would have scored more. He would have been scoring more than Arsenal. I feel like in a match sometimes he doesn't even touch the ball first half. He's just there like they are just ignoring passing by. But I feel like if it was place of like Barcelona, chances to be created enough for him that even if in a game you can take a game, maybe create like maybe 10 chances. He could have you can take like maybe 3 or 4. But I think like Arsenal look like they maybe in a match they will create like 2 or maximum 3 for him. Then if he doesn't score, it look like yeah he's the worst striker. And I feel like I don't think he's that bad of a striker. I just think Arsenal don't haven't made it an enable environment for him to score a lot of goals. So if for example they create one chance for you and you miss it, it looks like then you're a very bad striker. Because I feel like he said if you look at the way he even strikes the ball, he's a very good finisher. Just think the team isn't built in a way that maximizes the way the way he plays. That's why I don't think
Yeah,
he's a bad striker to make look like he's the best striker in the world.
yeah. But I think I would disagree with this because Gyokeres is please now before we get to that. Arsenal create chance. I don't think Gyokeres has elite movements within the box to score enough of the goals because Arsenal cross the ball a lot. Like statistically, I think they have one of the highest
Yeah, but I don't.
like
You see,
crossing
most of
rate.
their balls, most of their. I don't think Gyokeres is good with his head. I don't think he's the best finisher I've ever
Nah,
seen.
even
Because
cutbacks like low
when he was
crosses, they
doing,
do that.
because when he was in the Portuguese league, I think he only scored the season where he won the Gerd Muller award. I think his score was like two headers or so. He doesn't really score a lot of headers. So
Yeah, so
if you are playing, he doesn't really score a lot of
it's
headers.
even
That,
yeah, it's something you can hold against him because crossing is like heading is one of a significant ways a striker scores goals. So
yeah,
it's
you can
one
okay,
attribute
yeah,
that
you can
he's
hold that. Yeah,
yeah
you can hold that against him. Yeah, that, I don't disagree. If you are talking about his overall, what's the name? Like his the way he finishes with his feet and stuff. Then I feel like if he was to play in a team that created, if he was to play in Man City, I think he would score way more goals than if he's than Arsenal because
yeah.
basically
But
there are more chances for him.
I think being a striker is not just about your finishing. Like it's also an important thing. But like other players could play striker if it's purely about finishing technique. I think his movement is not good. If you look at his time at Sporting, the type of chances they create is mostly on the
Yeah, yeah,
transition.
most of the
So
yeah,
that's
that
mostly
was
the
me.
type of goals he
You see,
would score.
most of the chances are Sporting were him running like balls in behind
Yeah,
for him to run through. If he was playing at Barcelona, that's how last when Rafinha scored over was it 30 goals. That's basically one of the ways he scored balls from behind. Most of the time, Arsenal because most and I think also it's a symptom of the Premier League where most teams sit so low, sit so
deep.
deep in a low block that there's basically low space because if you look at his record in Champions League for Arsenal, most of the goals he scores most of the goals he scores for the champion because teams are more open and stuff. And I think in Barcelona, the build up play will be much more quicker than with Arsenal, where it is a bit every sometimes you watch Arsenal, it's like if what the fuck
Yeah,
are these people doing? The movement and everything is so slow, like they have no interest in scoring. Though you see that the ball is going forward, then they'll bring it back, then they'll pass sideways, then sometimes just like if you're a striker, I feel like what are people doing here? So
yeah.
that's why I said that if he was playing someone like Barcelona, I think someone like in the Premier League, he'll score over 20 goals. Because Ferran Torres like that, Ferran Torres misses chances. He misses
I
chances.
do agree.
Left, left, left,
I
left.
agree with yeah. I agree with the fact that like Arsenal, their build up is slow. Like in creating chances, they are slow with it. But I also think Jokeres' movement within in the box is not like elite. I think if you put
Yeah, his
Haaland
movement.
in, uh,
I've heard Alan Shearer say that his movement is necessary, but I think if Barcelona,
yeah,
it would have, I think it
yeah,
would have been,
possibly,
that would have been reduced a bit because of the number of high volume chances you'd have gotten. That's what I think.
yeah, sure,
So,
yeah, okay.
Clarence, so do you agree with the take or not?
Nah, I totally agree. As long as me personally, as long as the worst team he could have gone to looking for a team that can create chances for him to score, because
Yeah, I
I saw it with,
honestly feel like it's true.
I saw it with Kai
Arsenal wasn't the
Havertz, and I
best
saw
team for
it.
him because I don't think they have. Sorry to cut you. I don't think Arsenal have adopted to him. I don't think so.
Yeah, they've not. They've actually not, because there have been moments where I've watched Arsenal's game where Gyokeres literally wants the ball played into a certain space, and it's either Saka or Martinelli is still holding on to the ball, and then the defender that he's trying to bypass and use their weak spots now recovers, and then it makes it look like he's a bad striker. He doesn't know what he's doing. There's been moments where he wants the ball played in early, it delays, and then it ruins his chances of scoring. Whereas said if it was Barcelona, the number of chances that they actually create, whether it's Lamine Yamal, it's Rafinha, it's Pedri, whoever, he will literally be getting 3, 4 chances, 5 chances in a game, scoring them. Ferran Torres gets the chances, he can hit the crossbar like 3 times in a match. Three. But he will still end up
We
scoring
don't
one
talk
or
about
being
Ferran Torres.
assisting.
Otherwise,
Yeah. But then yes, I agree with Seth. Him being Arsenal West, for me, West move is going to make him look like he becomes now the West Premier League striker or signing for Arsenal. And I can see it coming in the next
for
two
now,
three years.
yeah. But I think with the presence of Havertz, like recently having Havertz in the team playing alongside Gyökeres, I think he has started to step up a little bit. Like he has
And
started
Havertz
scoring
is
more goals
injured
in the
now.
Premier League. He's injured again.
Havertz is injured. Yeah, he's injured
Oh,
again.
Yeah, he's injured again.
they
And this one
show
is
it.
and Mikel Merino is out for 5 months.
Yeah, he will miss the World Cup.
Bro. If Arsenal
And I
bottle
think
this
no,
league,
yeah, if they bottle the league, they are not serious.
So my hot take will be um Serie A is slowly starting to become the next big league in Europe. For me, Serie A is
Big league
slowly,
as in
as in becoming a competitive like rival to the Premier League.
I don't I don't 100% agree. I don't 100% disagree. That's why I say I don't
yeah,
100% disagree. Is if you are talking about in terms of league action and stuff, yeah, we can say the Serie A is improving. Most of the time, the league is competitive in that sense.
Yeah,
The teams are competing a lot in a lot, like the league title is much tighter than we can
yeah,
see maybe in the Premier League, but even the gap has closed. But similar to La Liga with the same financial issues, it seems like because the Premier League has global appeal than any other league, so a lot of people don't watch Serie A matches and stuff. So even I
yeah,
think Serie A's heyday was in the 90s. Just as how La Liga's heyday was when Ronaldo and Messi were both in the league during those are classical times. But I think
yeah,
like both of them couldn't really capitalize on it. So the Premier League has just taken over in the sense that it becomes really hard for a lot of people to watch, to really like sit through a Serie A match. And I think one of the problems is that has led to the situation where clubs like Fulham and stuff can outprice teams such as AC Milan, Juventus when it comes to buying players because those teams don't have the financial capital. It sometimes seems the transfer when you consider a newly promoted team like Sunderland can spend much more money than bigger historical clubs in Europe. And I think it's just because the way the Premier League has made itself, it's even why when teams are promoted, they sometimes struggle to stay in the Premier League because the gap is so wide that
yeah,
other teams don't just have the money to compete. And I think that is it.
yeah. I also like I don't I slightly agree with what you are saying because this season there's quite a lot of competition in Syria. There's no like one clear cut favorites for the Syria title. There are like three or at least four teams that are still in the title race. There's no like and there's Napoli, AC Milan, I think Juventus and Inter Milan. They are all like the gap between them in points. There, it's not wide that you say this particular team is going to clearly win. And like they bring AC Milan particularly like they brought in players to solidify like their attack because that's like one of the areas they've not been strong in. So like I think yeah, based on competitiveness of the league, I think yeah, that's one of the strongest,
yeah,
like one of the leagues where there's a lot of competition for the league title. In that sense, yeah, I think that, sure they might reach a point where they might compete if they keep this up. That's the like the one main thing. But if they don't, I think the Premier League will still come back and quite clearly.
yeah. Because
So
like the main fact is because what I realized right now about the Serie A is they've started to like pick and learn from the Premier League. They've started to learn from the Premier League. They've started really investing in like the league and in the various clubs because if you look at the progress of Como right now is insane. The progress of Como is actually very very insane. The
Yeah,
number of players they've been able to bring in, youth players wise, and they've been able to bring in is actually crazy.
yeah, I
And
think
you look
that
at
one is mainly on Fabregas.
yeah, it's mainly on Fabregas, but then it's the
no,
same as
it's not mainly it's not solely on him though. The family behind Kumo, they are wealthy people. That's how come they are able to invest. And the thing is, clubs like Inter Milan and AC Milan, they have changed ownership over a lot of time. I remember there was a certain Chinese man used to own Inter Milan. Then he took a loan. He couldn't pay the loan, so the loan had to be because he couldn't pay the loan. AC Milan, Inter Milan had to transfer to another ownership. So it's all part like they don't necessarily have rich owners running like their clubs. So all these are part of
yeah,
the struggle. So yeah, so I think
is becoming like the same way in like the Premier League right now. But it's just that the mid tier teams and the bottom teams now don't even want to sit deep against big teams. They actually want to match them like tactically, play actually play them, and try and see if they can win. I realized that with teams like
Yeah,
Sassuolo recently and Pisa and Verona, actually they actually do match tend to match this like these teams. I saw it with Verona and Napoli. I saw it with Juventus and I think a different team, Bologna or one of them. So yeah, they're actually performing now. So if they keep it up, very soon they might reach the level of the Premier League.
The level of the Premier League don't reach, but if you see the overtake La Liga, I agree. What the Premier League has
So La
reached is
Liga,
the
La
Premier
Liga
League
is
has
going
reached
to
a
tank.
point where
La Liga is going to tank. That one
the
for sure.
what the Premier League has what the Premier League has reached. I don't think any league can catch it that where the Premier League has reached. I don't think any league can. The only thing that I'll say is above the Premier League is the Champions League. That is all. The rest of the leagues, they can't match the Premier League because the Premier League, like I said, the Premier League has done well for itself. The type of branding and marketing they've done, and I think I would say at least in Africa, part of why it has been seen most African legends ended up playing for clubs like Chelsea and the Chelsea and all those clubs. So I feel like they
United,
also
in
help
fact,
grow it. They help to grow.
Man City,
He said,
United, Man
yeah,
City, all the big clubs, Spurs.
yeah, yeah. So they help grow. They help grow the league in a way which I don't think was that common like in La Liga. In Syria, it was in the early 19 stuff, but yeah, I think that for example, if when Mohamed Salah went to Fiorentina and to Roma, he was not at a global name like that. When he went to Liverpool, he has become a global house name. And that's basically Syria A, La Liga and stuff don't get a lot of eyeballs. The only thing that keeps La Liga relevant is the fact that it has El Clasico and Real Madrid and Barcelona keep having one of the best players in the world. Other than that, if La Liga was to lose Real Madrid and Barcelona, La Liga would fall like it will become one of like it could fall to the level of the Portuguese league, where it's not. It will become like a C tier league. It won't be really talked about like that. Okay, Isaac, your last hot take. Isaac, give us your hot take.
Arsenal will win the league this.
They won't or they
Yeah,
will.
he said they won't. Why is everybody against Arsenal winning the league like that?
Nah, because I be Arsenal hater. This is why I don't be hot state.
Hey,
Man, I
relax,
don't
man,
get why
relax,
people
relax.
don't like Arsenal. Like really, I don't
the,
get
the
it
reason
because
why
Hey,
you are
relax.
saying that is because you don't have Arsenal friends. That's why Arsenal fans that are your friends. You don't have some that's why. If you have some party anchor,
See,
well,
see, if
me
if
okay.
you had
So
seen their
Kelly, give
performance
me your
against
own.
Red Turkey,
Okay,
I
Kelly, give
think
me yours.
um Haaland will win the Ballon d'Or before killing Mbappe.
I disagree.
Uh,
Go
I
on,
mean,
go on. You
did
I
you
should,
say
tell me
Haaland
why.
will
Tell
win
okay.
me
the
why.
Ballon d'Or
Again,
before?
Mbappe. I
Yes.
don't.
Okay, wait. He's asking
Haaland
me.
will win the Ballon
Firstly,
d'Or before
my
Mbappe.
my main point is World Cup. If they are awarding Ballon d'Ors for World Cup performances, then Mbappe is more likely to win the Ballon d'Or than Haaland. First of it, because when is the World Cup? This year, 2026. And look at France's
Mm,
team. Come on, France. At least France to reach quarterfinals at the very least. So
Ferdinand,
you'd
Ferdinand, let's
expect
not
them to
forget
go. Yeah,
about recent. Have you
yeah.
seen
In
France
fact,
recent form
but Mbappe has been
internationally
on form this
compared
season.
to Norway? Norway internationally, how they are playing now?
oh master,
Uh,
forget that. This
the thing
France
is
team
basically,
at the time of the World Cup,
I don't
they
like
have.
it.
Let me mention their like potential starting lineup for you. Talk me say they no go win the World Cup. Starting lineup. If Deschamps is correct, you play Mbappe left wing, you play Eketike striker, and you play Olise right wing. Midfield they have Chouameni. They can decide to play Kone as the sixth rather, but I think they'll play Chouameni. They can play Kamavinga. They can play who serve dey there again. Then get somebody for there. Then go fill that position. Defense Konate. Nah, Saliba. They have Saliba. They have a left back Hernandez.
But they can
Right
play.
back Kunde. Central defense. They have defenders for days, bro. Bro, they are at least reaching. Forget Norway's form. Forget that one. World Cup is a different beast. Who And we know how France dominates World Cup too.
I feel like if you are to say it, I think France, Mbappe has a chance of winning Haaland because
Yeah,
I just think Mbappe has a chance of winning. But both teams are not winning the Champions League, so none of them are winning it this year. But
Okay,
if you
let
are
me
to give,
give
I say
let me give
because if the end season Real Madrid win the Champions League, the bomb is give to Mbappe. End season that Real Madrid win the Champions League, the bomb is give to Mbappe. So I don't. I think Haaland has a high chance of winning it. Sorry, I mean, I think Mbappe has a high chance of winning Haaland. So that is what take. Then let me go to my own. Or
wait,
you
wait.
want
Nah,
to
he
add
has not
something?
defended it
I
yet. Yeah,
didn't
let him.
Okay.
I'm not defending mine. So
Okay, yeah,
let
then
me
defend it.
let me go by saying that Mbappe in almost every single like World Cup year, which will determine like the Ballon d'Or, has always come in like second or third. 18 in 18, Messi, Ronaldo, and Co were still playing. And by the way, 18 went to Modric. I will not talk about who deserved it then. We go to the year 22. If you look at it, like we were saying, Haaland obviously had the edge, but because of World Cup and because everybody wanted Messi to take it, Messi won it. So don't forget, we are in another World Cup year, and more likely than so, I don't think Real Madrid are going to win the Champions League or the league. So if you look at it, almost all these World Cup years, he's unfortunate. Now, what does it say for Erling Haaland internationally? Yes, Norway is not that European team that internationally in a world on a World Cup stage will go and say Haaland is going to become the best player. But do I expect him to score goals in the World Cup? Absolutely so. I do. And I do believe this World Cup he will showcase it. But any other time when Man City will be on top of their game, probably win the league, contend for the Champions League, Haaland does stand a greater chance to win it. Because in the league, there's nobody who is there to battle him for the golden boots in the Premier League right now. It's just the emergence of Igor Thiago and other strikers right now. Haaland is literally the best striker in the Premier League, coming together golden boots. And if you're looking at globally right now, the only other striker stopping Mbappe from winning a Ballon d'Or is Haaland and Harry Kane globally. So, and if you look at this current Real Madrid team, there's no cohesion there. Like, there's no unity. They don't have that. What's the word I'm looking for? I've forgotten. But they don't have it like the way Barcelona do, like the way Man City do. They don't. There's always this. You see Vinicius Junior, you see Goulet, you see Rodrigo. They don't have that compared. That's what I'm saying. If Haaland gets it right in any particular season, regardless of whether it's going to be a World Cup year, he actually gets
But
to
but
win the
but
Ballon
Kelly, with
d'Or
what you are
over
saying, Real Madrid
Mbappe.
can, the thing is, Real Madrid don't need to play for to actually win the Champions League. I mean, they have not most of the Champions League that they've won. They've not actually played well. They've just relied on individual brilliance. The only thing is between the two of them, whoever wins the next Champions League will likely win the Ballon. That's all I'll say. Whoever wins the next Champions League, or if France win the World Cup. So it depends on that right now because
Yeah,
there's no way Norway is winning the World Cup. The most they can do is
but
quarterfinals.
yeah, you also have to take into consideration like for Erling Haaland, if Pep is likely to leave Manchester City, and if he leaves, who's to say like they will be the same team that they were? Maybe Haaland, we know Haaland's
Yeah, we
ability.
don't know.
He
So
might, yeah. So we don't know, but we don't know whether Man City they will be able to carry on that form and like still be winning Premier Leagues like as they did. So maybe they might dip in form and stuff like that. Those things also might come into consideration. So if anything,
Okay,
I think
but
the
but
argument
but you let
so
me
sways
then
more into Mbappe.
yeah,
okay
I
wait, but you let
think
me ask you this.
it's a. I will not say it's a. What I say it's dependent on a lot of factors. This one
Yeah,
is
actually,
dependent
it's
on
depending on a lot of
so many
factors.
different factors.
Because if you look at this generation
So
now with the emergence of Yamal, Lise, now you see all these other players coming in. You still think on a certain level he's going to be there to actually compete for it.
oh, he can. The only
He
thing
can.
is, yeah, talking like Real Madrid don't usually go far in the champ. Yeah, maybe the thing is, this thing we'll just have to wait and see. I think this one we just have to wait and see. But I don't know. I don't think it's a strong of that strong of a take. We just have to wait and see. If you have said somebody honest, like if somebody had said 3 years ago that Dembele will win a Ballon d'Or before Haaland the next one. That's on that one, but I don't know. Right now, the two of them just depends on whoever wins the Champions League first. For example, the way Man City have not been good so far, if they end up winning the Champions League, and even Haaland takes Norway to some like semi-final, quarterfinals, you have a high chance of winning it. And the same is if France reach the final and they win it, they'll give to Mbappe. So I think that one just have to wait and see with that. Then for my last hot take, this one, yeah, some people's fans, a certain fan base is going to get angry with this one.
Please be Liverpool. Please be
But
Liverpool. Please be Liverpool. Please be Liverpool.
oh, no, it's not Liverpool. It's not Liverpool. It's not Liverpool.
Please, United, please, let's respect.
It's not United. It's not United. They actually trade that I want to say, but because we are keeping it short. So if Portugal want to win the World Cup, Ronaldo should play at most 20 minutes from the quarter-final stage. Otherwise, do not win the World Cup. And the reason I'm saying this is because one, when Ronaldo plays, it becomes less of a team game, more about Ronaldo. Even we could see it in the last Euros, where at some point he started taking any free kick he tried was just hitting the wall. It wasn't going anywhere. But Bruno Fernandes was clearly the who could have taken better free kicks. But I feel like they almost have to suppress how good they are just to make sure that they appease Ronaldo. So I feel like if Portugal are serious about winning the World Cup, Ronaldo shouldn't be starting every match. He can start the group stages fair fine because the group stages, the teams will play against, they are not good teams now. So he can start and score and start span and score the number of goals he wants to score. But if they are really serious about winning the World Cup, from the quarterfinals, semi-finals, all those stages, he shouldn't start the match. He should be on a bench and be brought on because the moment he starts, every player refuses to think. Everything just becomes give to Ronaldo. Basically, even if they are open pool, they are in front of the open goal and they can shoot. Because Ronaldo is there, they'll pass to Ronaldo. That's how everything becomes centered around him to a point that it becomes to the detriment of the team. And I feel like because he's playing in Saudi Arabia and he's scoring a lot of goals, he would think that here he can still deliver like on the biggest stage. But if you are being frank, since the 2022 World Cup at international stage, he has been terrible. He has not shown that he can really do it there because the Euros, the Qatar 2022 World Cup, when he didn't really do much. Then he was benched. Then Gonzalo Ramos scored the hat trick against Switzerland. He came against Morocco. He was benched for that match. He came on the last 20 minutes. The Euros, he was not really doing anything. He was not really effective in the Euros with other matches. But he became a whole issue.
Yeah,
I think
but he was vital for them in their last international tournaments. I've forgotten what they call it. Europe.
The Nations League.
The
The
Nations
Nations League. He was vital for them. Yeah,
He didn't really play on the Nations
Nations
League.
League was the Nations
Like,
League
but
was
he scored goals.
the
That's the
Nations League
job.
was mostly their midfielders.
no, I'm saying that if I'm not the goal, that I'm saying that if they are serious about the Nations League, it was only the what was the name? No, Nations League, the final against Spain. It wasn't because Ronaldo that they won that final.
But he scored.
Now, it was the one on penalties.
Yeah, but he
The one on
scored.
penalties.
He kept them. He kept them in the game. Now, see, don't get me wrong. I don't disagree with your opinion because, like Ronaldo, I don't think he's in his prime and like pressing and those type of things. They are not in his game. And like, if you watch him for
Doesn't
Portugal, he doesn't press. He doesn't run or anything. Like once in a while,
do
then you do
anything.
it. Yeah, he scores goals though. But the arguments for like Ronaldo to
Most most
stay in the team,
most of the
relax.
goals, most of the time let me say this. Most of the times most of the teams you score against, they are not usually the best teams.
He scored
If you
against
are
Spain.
to look at his recent,
He scored against Spain
that's one match. If no, that's one match. But if you have to go through
in the final.
he scored against Spain. But I do think if Portugal and Spain were to play right now, like you score against Portugal. The thing is, if they are to play some like the smaller teams down there, he will dismantle the smaller teams. Those ones, there's no doubt about that. But if you are to play against, for example, suppose the World Cup final was tomorrow, Portugal and France are to play. I would rather start a dynamic front three, then bring him on for the last 20 minutes. But I feel like he'll be
Yeah,
best at the last 20 minutes. But if he used to play every match for Portugal will win the World Cup.
yeah. My
I think
argument for Ronaldo is that if you look at the Portuguese team, there's no forward in their team that is like consistently score. There's no striker. in their team that consistently scores goals.
They
And
don't need.
bear in mind,
They don't.
I don't
You see,
completely
they are.
disagree with you saying that Ronaldo should like his minutes should be definitely be limited, though, but I still think he would be
Be reduced.
like very vital for their
I
team to
don't
go
think.
far.
Roberto Martinez doesn't have the balls to drop him. So because me, I feel like
Yeah, Roberto Martinez
Portugal
is
don't
not a
have
good
like
coach.
Portugal doesn't have like maybe a Haaland level attacker, but they have good enough the good enough attack that all of them can chip in. Bruno Fernandes can chip in. Gonzalo Ramos can chip in. Rafael Leao can chip in. If you want to bring Joao Felix, he can chip in. Like Bernardo Silva, if you want to even bring him, like they have so many attacking options that they can chip in that they don't need. They don't really need Ronaldo, but I feel like they end up having to do everything in the service of Ronaldo, which in the long run they harm the team.
Yeah, but I also think that their coach is not like top level coach. I don't think he's the best. He doesn't utilize the team well enough because for how good their midfield is, like world class players, Vitinha and uh, Joao, what's his name?
Joao Neves,
Joao what?
Joao Neves.
Joao Neves.
Joao
Joao
Neves,
Yeah,
yeah.
Neves.
yeah. Well, you have a player like Joao Neves in the midfield and you're playing him at right back. Meanwhile, you have like reasonable players that are solid enough for you at right back. Like Cancelo was there, but he was on the bench. Dalu was there, but he was on the bench. He decided to put Joao Neves at right back. So it didn't make sense to me to so that he would put Ruben Neves in the team in the midfield. Like you have good players. I don't think the coach like is the best for the team. He was lucky with the Nations League win. They are quite a pragmatic team. They're almost like us now. They have good
Yeah,
players, but like they don't utilize them well enough to create open play
guys,
chances
yeah, they
unless it's
don't.
against very weak teams.
Yeah, according to Victor, that's when they play best. That is it. That is it for me. Clarence, you want to add something?
Nope, you said it all. I agree that Portugal, well, in a way, I'm always playing to appease Ronaldo. So I think,
So,
like you are saying,
yeah,
if they do want to go far, they can let him play in the group stages because they'll definitely need him like to score those goals to qualify. But like after, in like the round of 16 to the quarterfinals, semifinals, they should at least drop him for like 60 minutes. Let Gonzalo Ramos, Joao Felix be switching and let them be the ones to start and then get the job done, and then he can come in and see whether he can also make some contributions in the last 30 minutes or so. But I feel like it will also depend on certain like fixtures actually. If it's tough games, I feel like they will want to start Ronaldo to get that edge ahead because of his experience and everything. So
if
yeah,
you start
but
if you
regardless
start
of that
Ronaldo
one, I
against
agree.
France, you're not getting an edge. You're starting yourself. If you have to start Ronaldo against what's the name? Someone like France in the World Cup final, you're not getting an edge. You're just playing with 10 men from the start.
Yeah,
You're
that's
just
true.
playing with
It's
them.
like
So
France, Spain, and I think possibly to England. And even Italy, even shockingly, Italy too.
the World Cup, they have not even officially qualified. So don't even bring Italy. The World Cup, we still don't even know if they will go. They have to play playoffs in match. Yeah. So then this brings us to the end of the episode. Let us know what you think, whether you agree with the hot takes or not. And we'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel.
6 million ways to
Let us
die.
know what you think
Choose
in the
one.
comments down below.